What is the best way to tell a story? Using only imagination? Or maybe by allowing the reader to relive it in an interactive medium? Or why not both? Would you ever guess that these titles were based on novels? This fantastic Chinese epic is a mix of well-squeezed history, myths, legend, romance, and drama. Shake it well and you will get the juicy essence. Where there is love, there is war. Hundreds of characters can make you a little dizzy, but fortunately the plot focuses on the representatives of three states of Kaowei, Shuhan, and Eastern Wu, the remnants of the Han Dynasty, and each of them wants to dominate. The book became a perfect base for a famous video game series, Dynasty Warriors, in which a player takes control of various warriors from the epic and fights on battlefields filled with hundreds of enemies. Those clashes, played in the so-called Musu mode, are the highlight of Dynasty Warriors. Just like in a Chinese action movie, you fight versus insurmountable odds and come out victorious thanks to your amazing prowess and a hefty number of super attacks. One of the most renowned Chinese novels from the old times is Shui Hu Zuan, also known as Water Margin. Set in Song Dynasty, it tells the story of a group of 108 outlaws who gathered together to form an army. Eventually, they were granted amnesty and joined the government to fight a regular unit, but their story worked as canvas for many folk stories. Depending on the version, 108 outlaws evolved to spirits or demons, and stories of their deeds remind us of Robin Hood and his merry men. Water Margin's search for 108 spirits/demons/outlaws served as a base for a Japanese role-playing game called Suikoden. Its plot revolved around a young boy, son of a powerful general, tasked with finding 108 warriors who would help him form an army capable of standing against evil ruler and bring peace to the country. Up to this day, Suikoden remains one of the games with the most touching and engaging storyline. Imagine The Lord of the Rings as a Chinese classic. The Journey to the West is a mythological tale about a Buddhist monk, Xuanzang, and his fellowship on their way to India in search of sacred texts. However, in this case, the task was not given to the monk by a wizard, but by Buddha himself. And he was the one who provided Xuanzang with protectors. Among them was Sun Wukong, also known as the Monkey King, a mythical hero who made it to the global pop culture like no other Chinese character. You can find Wukong in a number of games, but one of the most interesting adaptations of the story and its hero is Enslaved: Odyssey to the West. You play as a character called simply the Monkey, which, of course, refers to the Monkey King from the book. Instead of medieval times, you will find yourself in a post-apocalyptic future where humans are enslaved by robots and you have to find the source of all evil. And it won't be an easy task. The famous novel Heart of Darkness, written by the Polish author Joseph Conrad, became canvas for many adaptations, both in movies and video games. The story of Charles Marlowe traveling through the River Congo sets a crucial question: where and how civilization ends and savagery begins? Why people deprived of society turn so easily into barbarians? In video games, those questions are rarely posed, but on some rare occasions, developers try to tackle them. In Ubisoft's Far Cry 2, the player moves out to Africa in search of a terrorist arms dealer called the Jackal. Trippy journey through African jungle full of guerrillas was a great reference to Heart of Darkness, but the game didn't focus on human nature, giving instead an opportunity to shoot a lot. Spec Ops: The Line by Jaeger Development is also a shooter, but it's one of those story-driven games. The authors wanted to create a gaming version of Apocalypse Now, and by far they succeeded. Set in Dubai, destroyed by a catastrophic sandstorm, The Line tells a story of Captain Martin Walker sent to retrieve Colonel John Conrad and his troops. As it turns out, Conrad, very much like Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now, turned Dubai into his own state, ruled by force and cruelty. The alien visitors had taken a space road trip to Earth, and when they moved on, a few things have been left behind: the mysterious artifacts. In this Russian novel written by two brothers, Arkady and Boris Strugatsky, Earth is a place where there are 6 zones full of strange activity. The main character, Sturgeon Red Shirt, is a stalker who ventures illegally into the zone to collect all those things that the alien visitors left scattered around. Roadside Picnic itself would be hard to convert to a video game, but the zone, as it turns out, was a perfect setting for a series of games called simply Stalker. You take a role of the titular stalker and venture into the forbidden territory full of dangerous mutants, other explorers looking for opportunity, and mysterious artifacts which will fetch a nice prize. It's a mixture of first-person shooter, role-playing, and stealth game, a vast open world that waits for you to explore and to survive in.